What's going on, eh?
What's up, my brother? How you doing, man?
Oh man, as always, man. You know it's a struggle. It's hard out here for the entrepreneur, man. You know how it goes.
Absolutely. You know how I go. But listen, I wouldn't trade it for nothing, though. You heard?
Man, I wouldn't trade it for the world, man. But like it's a lonely path, man. You know it's a lonely path, man.
Absolutely, man. And you know, entrepreneurial endeavors, man, is the road less traveled, but the most rewarding and the most lucrative, man. So, like I always say, we're gonna stay the course, man. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, man. The trials and tribulations is something else. See, I'm not gonna lie, but I read that somewhere. I read that somewhere before where it said, listen, man, if you think you're gonna either get rich quick or if you think that, you're gonna see the rewards real quick, you're gonna be sadly mistaken. I didn't really understand. I thought like, okay, you have an idea, you go ahead, you put it into practice, you put it into perspective, and then you're gonna see the rewards, man. But then I'm start hearing the brothers and seeing the brothers and sisters too. Like, listen, this thing gonna take a minute, but you got to be able to stay the course. You got to be able to say, I'm gonna hold on, and I'm gonna be able to see it through. You
Absolutely,
know what I'm saying?
absolutely, man. And anything worth having is worth that sacrifice of time and patience. You know what I mean? You're trying to build something great. It takes
Mm-hmm.
time, man, and patience, man. So we built for it. You know what I mean? Like, and it's definitely different than what we're accustomed to, because just referencing, just the lifestyle that we once lived, man. You could turn up in a week, you back. You get what I'm saying? But this, it requires more time and patience, but it's more rewarding. So,
Absolutely.
and just to add on, I was talking to my brother, man, and we were just building on just the same concept we talked about now, where it was like a meme. I guess they call those memes. I don't know. It was like a picture. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But I
yeah,
just
yeah.
call it a meme. So it was a guy with like a pickaxe, right? And he was digging for gold, right? And he dug for miles, but he got impatient, and I guess exhausted, and turned back. But the picture, one more swing of the pickaxe, the goal was right there.
Absolutely.
One more swing, but
Just when you're about to give up.
just when you're about to give, and in this meme, he gave up. The way the meme is, he's turning around, walking away, but it's
Yeah.
showing he's right there from the goal. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So sometimes you got to continue going past the exhaustion, the frustration, the everything that you encounter on this journey. You have to keep going, and that stuck with me, man. When I saw that meme, I said, wow, and that happens a lot. We get frustrated, we get tired, we like, man, this ain't for me. Whatever you may tell yourself to retreat, right?
Absolutely.
And if you would have kept going, I'm talking about you were like right there, but you can't obviously see that. You know what I mean? Like with the way the meme demonstrated, he couldn't see that, but it was right there. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I tell you, I get to that point because, and I get to that point almost every other day, man. I get to that point and I'll be like, you know what, man? I know the paycheck is the safety, man, that there's a drug that they give you to keep staying on that wheel every week. You can count on it. You can find ways to increase it, man. But sometimes I'll be having that feeling like, yo, man, I'm putting a lot of work in trying to chase these dreams and put these steps and stages into these businesses, man. And it's like, it don't be materialized. I might spend money thinking it's going to yield a return and it don't yield a return. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, man, I could have did something else with that money, but I put my all into the marketing. I put my all into crafting the commercial and everything. And it's like, yo, it didn't yield a return. So it's like, but then I'll find information or maybe on something I did wrong. I really didn't find the correct audience. I really didn't find the correct time to put the ad out. I really didn't find the interest correctly to put the ad out to reach its targeted desired audience. So I say to myself, okay, this is a stepping stone. It's a learning. It's a curve, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna tighten up. So.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I get to that point too, man. I get to that point like, listen, I'm about to stop, man. Then something have to tell me like, listen, man, you almost there. I
You're
told my
almost
wife the other day, I didn't see it before, but like the other day, for some reason, I see the success and I see it as within my reach, it's within my grasp. It's just that some aspects of it, I can't touch it yet. It's not tangible, but it's almost like the forest for the trees. It's coming closer and closer now. You know what I'm saying? It's coming closer and closer. I'm like, okay, I see it. I'm right there. I just got to tighten up on X, Y, and Z.
Right, absolutely. And your screen is all right. It's clearing up now. It was a little
Okay.
blurred for a second.
All right.
Like the quality of it kind of
Yeah.
okay. But yeah, man, and but that's the test, man, that we all face, and that's just a test in general of your will.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like how bad you want this thing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Do you
you
want
go
it as bad as, like E.T. say, do you want it as bad as you want to breathe?
exactly, exactly. So that what that does is it gives you purpose. So it gives you that desire to keep pushing forward
Mm-hmm.
when you have those moments, and you know, and that's normal. You know what I mean, for everybody, man. And I've seen an interview recently with LL Cool J, and he was asked a question about hip hop currently and him performing and putting out music at this stage in his life.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, you know, he doubt himself sometimes in so many words. Like, you know, he have those moments, which is normal. But the key is that you push through it. You don't allow those momentary ideas that may surface to paralyze you or to cripple you. You get what I'm saying? And I believe we spoke about this, man. It's something I subscribe to, man. And it's what gets me up in the morning and for me to continue on my purpose.
Mm-hmm.
That don't allow, you know, those fear, you know, those attributes, man, those negative qualities that arises in all of us at times.
Absolutely.
Fear, self-doubt, procrastination, all these internal um, things, man, that could hinder you from progressing.
Yeah.
Right. So, and it's normal. So one thing about myself, you know, when I have those thoughts, you know, a thought may arise that's contrary to my purpose, I eliminate it immediately. You know, and the key to that is having a superior understanding to conquer that false idea. Because what
Mm-hmm.
it is, you know, and a lot of people that idea would cripple them and paralyze them. They wouldn't push forward. You know. So one thing about myself, you know, I'm glad that I have the internal mechanisms to defeat that. Right, those limiting thoughts. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, we just got to keep our eye on the prize, man, and stay focused, man, on
Absolutely.
on
So
the
we
purpose.
had we this is our first episode. Technically, this is our first episode. We gave people of who we are, introduction of who we are and where we came from and how we got there, and we gave them our transition of coming home. And so, you know, I speak to some people and they like, yo, you told me y'all was gonna have some guests on and they was gonna take us. I said, be patient, you know, relax. You know, nothing happens overnight, and we're not trying to really rush nothing. We're not trying to bombard anybody with nothing or rush nothing, but we got a lot of things on the deck that's coming, you know. So, but this is still a time for us to speak just on business and speak on what it is that we know and what it is that, you know, encouraged us to become financially independent, so to speak, or to become an independent entrepreneur, like we've said before. But one of the main things why me and you came together and we got so cool is because it is our love for reading. You know, I developed that love for reading and writing, you know, like I said, when I was incarcerated. And there was a gentleman, and you know, I hope I'm not crossing the line or being disrespectful, but his name is Peter Rolock, you know, the Pistol Pete, the old Pistol Pete. And when I was in Lewisburg, I had the privilege, you know what I'm saying, of meeting the brother. And the brother was so wise, man, and he gave me so much jewels. Like I never forgot it. You know, I didn't stay there too long, maybe about 2 years or something like that, but I never forgot it. So you see, I never forgot it because I'm bringing it to you to this day. But he told me, man, long time, I forgot when this was, maybe 98, 97, maybe 96. But he was like, we was talking, it's like, what you need to do is just look in the dictionary and pick a word out every other day and memorize the word. You know how to spell it and how to use it in sentences. You know what I mean? And train yourself at that. And I start doing that. I start training myself in that. I start getting the words up. I went to a place called Schuylkill, and I met this good brother there. His name was Scoop, man, good man. He passed away, God bless him, but he from Yonkers, and we used to joke all the time. And every time I talk to him, I'll say a word that he may not know, right? And he always say, "Black man, I'm getting tired of you, man, with these words." He was like, "Yo, that's not a word." And I used to say, "Yo, man, don't challenge me, man. Don't. I'll advise you not to challenge me, man." He said, "Yo, this word right here, I'm not going for it." But they used to, yo, it was like a word. I think it was sophomore, but it was so many different words I was using, and so the vocabulary was so high. I was just using it for no reason. You
Right.
know what I mean? Just to say it, just because I knew it. I
Right.
probably was using it in the wrong context, but I just wanted to, make it appear like I know what I'm saying. But yeah, this brother told me, man, he put me on that. He put me on that road, man. I really do appreciate him to this day, man, of what he gave me. It showed me a lot of patience, a lot of concentration, and a lot of being inquisitive for information, So, but I say all that just to say that what got us together is reading. You like to read, I like to read. We met each other later in each other's biz, and we come to find out we're interested in the same things. So here's a book that's called Why Should White Guys Have All the Fun? And this book right here is one of the main books that got me into studying business. It got me into studying finance. It got me into studying stock market, all types of things because of this book. And come to find out, you read the book too. But we know that, those of us that read the book, his name is Reginald Lewis, and he created $1 billion empire. He started out his journey, I believe, living in Baltimore, but he made it to Harvard. He had some ups and downs along the way. But the beautiful thing I like about this book is that he didn't give up. In all the obstacles that was put his way, his philosophy was exactly what the title says. Why should white guys have all the fun? Because he knew he was just as smart. He knew he was just as bright, just as cunning, just as equally deserving of a position in this world when you put the time in. So I read this book more than twice, man, because the journey that he took to get to where he was just interesting and it was compelling. And I got a lot out of it, as far as the junk bonds went in the 80s, with Michael Milken, and they used the junk bonds to get it, the leverage buyouts, things of that nature, how they used the junk bonds as collateral to get the leverage buyouts of companies. So it was interesting. Like I said, it's $1 billion company, and his net worth was $400 million, I believe, personally. He died I think he had brain cancer. He had brain cancer. And I'm going to tell you, I have to say this. One of the most important things that I got from that, and I think he saw, because he bought a company called the McCall Company, and I think it was a pattern company. But he realized, I guess you can say the racism or the obstacles that was in his way when he was going for it. Even though he finally got it and he turned it around for an enormous profit. I think they sold it for $30 million or something like that. He bought it for $1 million. But he knew when he wanted to buy this company, is an international candy company, beverage company, and cakes and all that. He knew when he was going after this company that he had to a degree disguise who he was.
Right.
So he created the TLC Beatrice, the holding company. And every time they went on these meetings, he would go as if he's representing the company. See, they was oblivious to the fact that he was Reginald Lewis actually trying to, take control of the company. And that was one of the things I got from this book. And it's very important even to this day to not let them see you coming.
Right.
Anybody, anyone, no matter how close, no matter how dear you think they are, you can't reveal your hand all the time to everyone, because they're not going to understand what it is that you're trying to do and where you're trying to go. Sometimes you got to be shrewd. Sometimes you got to be to the point. You got to be tact. But sometimes you got to also have kid gloves. You got to also be able to be gentle with people and try to show them the way. 9 times out of 10, when a person don't understand you, they trying to block you. They trying to stop you. They don't understand what you're trying to do. So you can't let a person know all the times what it is that you're trying to do. But yeah, go ahead. I just wanted to start off with that and tell you certain aspects of what I got from the book.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy? You actually introduced me to the book. And at the time, you didn't have the book in your possession, but I remember you talking about it. And then you asked me, like, yo, you read this book. And at the time, I probably read 1,000 books. So I missed that one, right? So I was like, I have to read it. I felt kind of out the loop, you know what I'm saying, right? So, and the title alone, I remember this vividly. We was having this conversation, and you mentioned, I'm like, man, that title alone was attractive. You get what I'm saying? I said, wow, that's an interesting title. You know what I'm saying? Then you gave me like a synopsis of the book. Then I came across it actually a little later on, a couple years later. A brother had it, let me. I said, oh, you got that book? You know what I'm saying? And the crazy thing is, when something's on your mind, right, it comes to you. It's just a matter of time. So the book just came across my bed. Like, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So then I actually ordered it was so good. I actually ordered a copy for myself. But yeah, it was inspirational, right? And motivating, because you look at a guy, they talked about his background, coming up in Baltimore, poverty. You know what I mean? One thing I like about him, and I see similar characteristics between me and him, he didn't allow his circumstances to define him.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He didn't accept poverty as his lot in life, like a lot of us do. Sometimes you may hear people say, man, it is what it is. Right? I don't subscribe to that. What you mean it is what it is? This is poverty. We could get out of this, either individually or collectively, depending on our will to do so. Mm-hmm. And what he demonstrated was his will, right? And you see, he was in sports. They talk about his whole life in the book. And they talk about his personality a little bit, how, he was, some of them may call him like an a-hole, because, he was zero tolerance.
He was zero tolerance, man.
Because he had a plan and a goal. But, no one gets to that level of success without ruffling some feathers.
Absolutely.
Because you got the vision, you got the goal. And if you put people onto it, they may not see it or be as serious about it as you are. You know what I mean? So with certain things about his personality that I liked, you know what I mean? And so like I said, I like the fact that he didn't accept poverty as his lot in life. Mm-hmm. You understand? He didn't he wasn't like confined to a box. You know what I mean? That's why you see the title, Why Should White Guys Have All the Fun? He's seen investing on that scale. Like, you know what? I could do that as well. That's not just for them.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And yeah, man, so I admire the brother, man. And it was one part in the book where, and that it stuck with me as well, where after he did the deal for the $30 million, remember, this is when he encountered Michael Milken.
Yes.
Right? And he said that, he just closed on a $30 million deal. That was big for him.
Yeah, it was big for him.
But that was light.
Yes. In that realm, that was light.
In that realm, it was light. Michael Milken was like, okay, yeah, 30 million, that was nice. But you know what? Come over here. Let me show you, like,
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And it just goes to show that sometimes whatever it is you think that you're doing, it's another level. So what that said to me was, remain humble. You know what I'm saying? Remain humble, because then he got exposed to, different levels.
Yes.
But that was interesting to me, because I have my own experiences with that, just coming from the streets. You think you're doing a little something. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And you may be doing a little something in your little world.
In your little world.
Right? You're the big fish in the small pond.
Absolutely.
What happens is you get out there, and now you're the little fish in the big pond. It's a whole
Absolutely.
you,
And let me tell you, E, another part is what I like is that once he secured this company, because it was rough times. It seemed like he was going to get it, didn't seem like he was going to get it.
right,
During the negotiations, he was smart. He realized, he said, hold on, how much is this company valued at? And all the different pieces, like companies here in Switzerland or companies here in Ireland or Ireland or companies over here, how much is each of these things worth? You know what? He starts saying, I can sell off certain aspects of these things to pay back the money that I borrowed. You feel what I'm saying? And then I never, it was amazing to me because I just didn't understand it. And so when I speak to people, by no means do I try to equate an education in finance or business with what I've learned, because I'm coming more from a street determination, rough, gritty background. That's the background I'm coming from. I'm really not coming from, we already know, but I admire and I adulate those people that went and took that time to earn those degrees. I love them. I speak to them a lot. It's just not a path that it took me down. You understand? So it's like when I'm exposed to new things, I start is a wonder to me. It's like, wow, you analyze that the company is worth this much. And if you can get it somewhat in your possession, you can sell off aspects of it and show how when you sell off aspects of this company, it'll take off this chunk of the loan. And I think that was amazing when I saw that. After he acquired this company, his personal net worth was $400 million. So I don't know why I never hear about Reginald Lewis. I don't know why I never hear about him from anyone too tough. I put it up on my page for Black History Month one time. Only 5 people liked it. Like, I don't understand. Because it was kind of rare at that time for a Black man to make that kind of move, and I think he probably was the first one that made that kind of move.
pioneered that.
Absolutely. And after he made that move, he tried to acquire a lot of things. You know that, right? He tried to acquire a lot of things after that. The Baltimore Orioles, he tried to acquire, I believe. I don't want to be wrong, because I haven't read it in a while, but I think he tried to acquire the Baltimore Orioles. He tried to acquire a few things. But I think in the book, it'll tell you he felt once they realized it was him, once they realized that it was a Black man that was doing these things, he felt that it was being stonewalled, like he was being held back. And that's why he did the whole TLC Beatrice from the beginning, because he was trying to hide his identity. But once he pulled it off, he wanted to show him with the cigar in his mouth, like, yo, why should y'all have all the fun? But yeah, once he acquired that, that was it. It was hard for him to acquire other things, man.
Right. Because now his cover's blown. And, unfortunately, that's just a reality, man, that Black men we face. You know what I mean? No matter how astute you are and the value you bring,
yes.
And you think about it, this wasn't that long ago. You know what I mean? Yeah, so that's just an unfortunate reality, man. But he inspired a lot of, I think, actually in the book, I know Robert Johnson spoke, the guy that owned BET, he inspired him.
Okay.
He learned a lot from, so people in the business world are familiar with Reginald Lewis. But like you said, why is his name not like a
Robert Lee, not like Robert Smith.
Like Robert Smith. I'm just getting familiar with who that brother is. Fairly recently.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And we should know more about these guys, man, especially with the moves that they're making on the level that they're making it on. And so, yeah, man. So he actually inspired a lot of people, and I read one article where, when I was talking about Reginald Lewis, because, you had prior to him, the richest Black man was the brother that owned Ebony Johnson. Johnson Publishing.
Yes.
And he was, at odds kind of with the brother. 'Cause, you see another brother coming up, and sometimes that thing within us, man, what we don't we want to be the only person in the room. You know what I'm saying? And that was unfortunate too. When that it wasn't direct tension, but according to some reports that it was just a little jealousy there. But yeah, man, I was very inspired by the book, man. When I read it, I had to definitely get one in my possession. The book, 'cause, like I said, it's something that you want to refer to at times when you need some inspiration and motivation, right? You get what I'm saying? You say, man, this man came from the same background, not necessarily street, but just poverty and environment,
Absolutely.
but he was determined to change his condition, by any means necessary. You get what I mean? So he did, like you said, he knew, okay, they don't want to let me in the front door, right? I'm coming through the window. Like, you get what I'm saying? That's that mindset. Like, nothing's going to stop me. Whatever it is, I need to do. So,
absolutely.
Right. So that in and of itself, man, was very inspirational. And I think if those that haven't read it, purchase that book, man, you will be inspired and motivated.
I agree. So what we agreed upon, me and you, I think one episode per month, we will focus on a book that inspired us, a book that put the fuel to us. We'll encourage our followers and people who respond to us to either like, subscribe, and share to the book that we show. But one episode per month, I think that'll be good to highlight, a book that influenced us, because we read a ton of them. I read so many of them. Sometimes I forget. Like, if somebody tell me a book, all right, I'll be like, I'm not sure, until they start getting into aspects of it.
Right.
And then I'll be like, yeah, I read that. I had to remember back to it. But it shapes you, because it's acquired knowledge. And that's where all of the jewels are at. That's where all of the inspiration and that's where all of the knowledge is at, is in books. Now, I know this is a social media area. You can go online and you can look it up, but you have to immerse yourself in these books so you can find the different jewels and the different characteristics and aspects that's going to help you take your business and your journey and your desires to the next level as far as it comes to business. So we agreed upon that, and that's what we're going to do, and that's what this episode is for. This episode right here was to dedicate this to a book that we both love. You love the book, right?
Absolutely.
Listen. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, how can you not? You know what I mean? Especially when you look at, man, this man's background and what he went through. If you don't like that, right, or not inspired by that, it says to me something about you, right? Because that man come from nothing, man. You know what I mean? And made something of himself. You know what I mean? So he has certain character traits. And, at some point I want us to build on that as well, man, because knowledge alone is insufficient, right? Because, like, we hear the term or the phrase, knowledge is power, right? That's an absolute phrase. But it's not totally true. Knowledge is potential power. Because let me tell you something. I know a lot of guys with knowledge, man. They're not exerting no power. You understand? Absolutely. Because knowledge coupled with determination, will, character. So it's other attributes that has to accompany the knowledge. Because what will happen is you just be an individual with a bunch of knowledge, like that saying, like you just be like a donkey walking around with a bunch of books on his back. Oh. Useless. You get what I'm saying? You got a bunch of knowledge you walking around with, right?
I agree.
But it's useless because you don't have the character traits to implement, right, the knowledge. You get what I'm saying? So I think that's need to be emphasized more, right? Because that's why character development is very important. Discipline. You don't have no discipline, you're not going to accomplish much in life. I don't care how much knowledge you have.
Absolutely.
You don't have the discipline to, like I said, disregard distractions and, just all of the things, man. You stay in focus. So,
but it don't go away. Those distractions don't go away. I mean, no matter how well you implement that what you learn, the distractions is only tenfold because the more you know, the more you owe. You're responsible, right?
absolutely. Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
those trials and tribulations is definitely gonna come at you tenfold, even more. Like the more, like I read the other day or saw the other day when they said when you're blessed or like you got it going on and things is happening for you your way, everything's going your way. You seem to be on top or you seem to be going good. And that's when negative forces will start coming at you even more. Like when you just idle, you're not trying to make a move. You're trying not to go forward. You're not trying to be successful. You're not trying to achieve anything. You just complacent and happy with where you are. There's no need for those negative forces to come at you because it's not fighting against nothing, right? But when you're positive, when you got a goal, when you got an agenda, those negative forces, those negative things, those temptations, like you said, it's going to come at you so hard. If you're not prepared, it doesn't matter how much you know. If you're not prepared, you're going to fall at the wayside. So you're right. You're right. It's the implementation of what it is that you know.
Right, man. Because I had a conversation, man, with a brother, man, very knowledgeable brother, man, on specifically credit, right, and enlightened me, and provided me with a lot of literature on credit, right? The brother came home, right, and did the total opposite, right? And me and the brother, we laughed about it because I know that he knows.
Yeah.
Like, you get what I'm saying? I know he know better. It's one thing if you could just try to chalk it up to ignorance. He knows, I know that he knows. So we laugh about it. Cause he like, yo, man, I just did the total opposite. But I understood, you know what I mean? We just coming home, man. We just like, you know what, man, you throw caution to the wind, man. He said, I just want to live, man. At times, you first come home, for some guys, they don't want to be under them strict guidelines. They like, man, I'm just living, man. They give me a $10,000 credit card. I'm maxing it out. I'll figure it out later. But
absolutely.
But about the utilization. All of this, right? But it was funny. So that was just a testament to that knowledge alone is insufficient. I see that manifest a lot. You know what I mean?
It's a good example too. You already know, and you know that I know.
Right. Exactly. That's why we laugh about it. He like, yo, E, man, I did, man. You wouldn't believe it. And we laugh because he knows that I know. You know what I'm saying? So, but like I said, that's just a testament to that fact that we have to acquire more than enough.
Absolutely.
We have to work on ourselves, man, on, certain attributes to allow us to implement the knowledge.
I agree. I agree 100%.
Yes, sir.
And I'm glad we on that same page too, because you kept me straight a lot of times. You know it. I've called you a lot of times in panic mode, man.
Right.
Word up. And it didn't matter how much I knew. But I was already ready to go over the edge, right or wrong. And it was impressive. It was impressive. And I knew I could call. I said, let me call my man. Yo, E. And you'll just be quiet. You'll listen to me. Da, 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 da. Boom. Next thing you know, you just say a few things, and what I say, right. You're right. You're right. I'm going to hold on, man. You got to implement that which you know.
Right. Absolutely.
And I agree with you 100%. So, yeah. So, we did good, eh? We did good. So